Hi everybody, I'm Judy DiLorenzo from A Life Well Planted. And 4 years ago, in May of 2021, I posted a video entitled Vacuum Sealing Liquids the Easy Way. This video is my most popular video to date. It has over 115,000 views and over 200 comments. But the lighting was bad. I didn't have a mic at the time. So I decided, since I'm going to be freezing all of this tomato puree today, that I would reshoot the video and not only have better quality, but also it gives me an opportunity to answer a lot of the questions that were repeated in the comment section. You're going to want to stick around till the end because first I'll demonstrate how I freeze my tomato puree. But then I'm also going to demonstrate freezing water, a much thinner liquid. I have lights, I have a microphone, and so let's get to it. The FoodSaver rolls are typically scored. Here, let me show you what I mean. So do you see the lines? So that helps you determine how big to make the bag. And I find that 3.5 scores works well for freezing a quart of liquid. I'm not affiliated with FoodSaver. I've never contacted them regarding the machine in my YouTube videos or anything like that. I just happen to use FoodSaver vacuum sealers. This is my third one in all these years, so they last pretty good. If you put something in this bag, such as, let's say cooked pasta, then obviously you're going to be pulling the air out from all around the pasta. You'll be sucking the bag tight. That isn't exactly what happens when you vacuum seal liquids. You're basically just going to be pulling the air out from the edge of the bag and then hitting the seal button if the machine doesn't automatically start sealing, so that before liquid gets drawn into the trough, you can manually hit the seal button. Or if you're concerned you're going to suck liquid into the trough, you can just simply hit seal right now. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. I'm not even sucking the air out of the edge. Okay, here we go. Actually, no, you do end up with air bubbles. Okay, I'll redo that one. Let's do it again, and this time we'll suck that little bit of air out of the edge of the bag so you don't end up with those big air bubbles. So the first step is to nudge any obvious air bubbles that are sitting on top of the liquid to the edge. Tuck your end into the trough. And now we're just going to be sucking out all of this air. Okay, so I'm going to hit vacuum seal and I'm going to watch. And if I can see that liquid is starting to be drawn out into the trough, I will just hit the seal button to stop that process. I'm setting my machine to moist. If you don't have a moist button, it doesn't matter. Believe me, I've used this process with machines that don't have moist buttons and it didn't matter. Here we go. Okay, so I did see liquid was starting to be drawn, so I hit the seal button. I'm assuming liquid will be on the edge of the bag, so I'll wipe the edge and then I'll reseal it. Just to be sure. I mean, you don't have to, but I think it's good practice. And actually, just that little tiny bit, can you see it? Went into the trough. Okay, so let's reseal just to be sure that we have a good seal since there was a little liquid there. Okay, so we have a double seal just to be sure. And so then obviously I would label this and put it into the freezer. Let's do another one. All right, so I will measure 1, 2, 3, and half scores. I will seal one end. People, would comment that, oh, you're not really pulling air out of the product. I mean, in a way, I'm not. I'm pulling air out of the edge of the bag. So you've already nudged the air bubbles that form on the top of the liquid. So here are the air bubbles that I'm nudging. Some of them may stay. If a couple of little bubbles stay, I'm not worried about it. Okay. There we go. That's good. So make sure the edge is nice and flat, tucked into your trough. Close it, lock it, and then again, I'll be ready to hit the seal button if necessary. And I could tell that a little bit of liquid got sucked, maybe not into the trough, but into the edge of the bag. Yeah, there we go. Into the edge of the bag, but not really into the trough, because I hit the seal button. I'm just going to do a double seal just because, just to be sure, because of the fact that we did get a little bit of liquid that got drawn into the edge of the bag. So, I mean, I probably don't have to, but I will. But you can see the difference. If I just hit the seal button, you end up with these air pockets. So I will, see that? I will redo this bag because I don't want that air pocket there. Okay, there you go. So let's get crazy, all right? Let's get crazy, and I am going to seal plain water, because it is true this is a little thicker than, let's say, if you were sealing broth. I'm just using a small bag for this demonstration. There's no reason to waste a large bag. Okay, so I will pour plain water into the bag just to show you, if you have a thinner liquid than the puree, that this can still work. Now, obviously, I am going to hit the seal button. I know that once the air at the edge of the bag is pulled out, that because it's such a thin liquid, it is going to start getting drawn into the trough. So yes, I will hit the seal button. Okay, there you go. And yes, we have some liquid in the trough, but the machine is fine. You're not going to ruin your machine. So can you do the same process using a Ziploc type baggie? Of course you can, but I prefer to use my FoodSaver because I can have the machine pull out the air at the edge of the bag instead of trying to manually push it out. I find that if I try to do that, the liquid comes out too, you make a mess. Now the seal has the liquid in it. You can try pulling out the liquid by using a straw. I know that some people use that method, but if you have a FoodSaver, I suggest at least trying this method because I feel like the seal is sturdier, especially because you can do a double seal or a triple seal if you feel like it. And the last thing you want to do is to put a bunch of flat liquid packages in your freezer and having one of them give. That would make such a mess. Oh, and if you feel like your packages might be a little bit damp, just put a paper towel in between the layers and then you don't have to worry about them sticking together. I do have a blog post that explains how to make tomato puree for the freezer. go to alifewellplanted.com. I opted to freeze this batch of tomato puree instead of canning it because the tomatoes had hit the ground. We had a lot of rain and wind. The tomatoes fell off the vine. We picked them up right away. But the rule of thumb is that you shouldn't really can tomatoes that hit the ground. So that's why I opted to put these in the freezer. But these 2 half bushels were just picked off the vine. So I will can those. I'll can them as crushed tomatoes. And I do have a YouTube video that also explains how I can crushed tomatoes and tomato puree. So you could check that out. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And as always, try to make every mouthful count.